Good morning, my friends. I'm just noodling. I'm just having some fun here. I was messing with all sorts of chord progressions today in with my new Kemper cabinet, and I'm very excited about that. So welcome. It's the 11th day of the 30-day guitar challenge. So normally our normal guitar show, right? But we're here in quarantine, if you will, or locked down for 30 days. Say it takes 21 to 30 days to establish a habit, and that's why I'm here with you every single day in April from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. From 11 to 12, we're doing a beginner lesson. I'm walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which you guys get for free today. Second link below. First hour, that's what I'm doing, and then the second hour, we're doing an advanced lesson. So for today, we're talking about how to know all the notes on the fretboard. You're not really memorizing them any more than you are memorizing how to count from 1 to 1,000,000. I've never done that before. I've never counted 1 to 1,000,000, but I'm pretty sure I could do it because of a system, and that's what I'm going to show you today is a system for doing this, a super easy system. But you're never really like memorizing the notes on the fretboard. Okay, you're just getting more familiar with them. You're getting really quick at them, but like memorizing, no, not memorizing like you're doing ABCs. Okay. So that's number one. That's the first hour. In the second hour, we're going to be talking about the major scale and why it's so important. We're going to be able to create it all over the fretboard from any note, so you literally will not only know all of the major scales in all the different keys today, but literally you'll know all of the modes and what they're based off of as well. Okay, now that's a pretty deep subject, but you'll actually know the forms, the how the actual scale is constructed. Okay? I'm very excited to be with you here today, my friends. Here's what I want you to do. The first a couple orders of business very quickly. Obviously, if you haven't already, go ahead and like this video. And if you've done that already, then don't worry about that. Don't do that again. And after that, share this video. Okay, that'd be helpful. And then, first link below is the PDF that's going to give you access to our syllabus. It's a little bright. It's going to give you access to our syllabus, plus there's some other bits that I'm going to be sharing with you there, okay? And then the second link below is going to give you access to the Unstoppable Guitar System. Cool? Okay, excellent. Let's get into it here. All right, so the notes on the fretboard. This is super easy, friends. So really the only thing that you need to know, there's 3 things that you need to know. You need to know the musical alphabet, you need to know what notes are sharp and flat, and you also need to know the names of the open strings. All of those are super easy, okay? Let's take a look at this. Okay, Okay, so the names of the open strings from the lowest to the highest go like this. E, A, D, G, B, E. And you can remember this, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. Easy enough, okay? So just remember that little fun phrase, or whatever little phrase you want to do to remember that. So number one, you got to know the names of the open strings. And in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this really easy for you. I'm going to put some reminders on here. Got to know the open strings, number one, okay? Now, number one, why is this important? This is important because if you don't know what the notes are at on the fretboard and someone asks you a question and you're sitting there with a bandmate or another musician, and you're trying to teach them or you're trying to play together, in the same way that if you know a different language than somebody else and then you're trying to communicate, let's say it's the love of your life and they speak a different language, you're going to want to learn that language, aren't you? Yes, the answer is yes. And so you should also learn the language of music because it's going to help you communicate with other folks, okay? You also need to know, so open strings is number one. You got to know that, the names of the open strings. And we know that as E, A, D, G, B, E, okay? E, A, D, G, B, E, easy enough, right? Got to know those. This is the E, the very first E is the lowest, or the thickest string, okay? Number two, you got to know the musical alphabet goes from A to G. And thirdly, B and E don't have sharps. Okay? So the other thing you need to know is, number two, the musical alphabet goes from A to G. And number three, B and E don't have a sharp. Those are the three rules that you need to know, that if you know those, you will immediately know every single note on the fretboard, and you always will, forever, as long as you remember those three things. So musical alphabet goes from A to G. So when we're in America, in English-speaking countries, there's no H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, at least as far as the notes. I say that because, and I'm of German heritage, but there's always some German out there who says, no, we do have an H in the musical alphabet. And that's true, I think, but not here in America, not in the US, okay? So we say A to G, right? So if we were playing, say, a C major scale, and we played it from A to A, then we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. There's no H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. It starts over again, okay? And then B and E don't have a sharp. I say let it be. Remember the word B. B and E don't have a sharp. Someone always said, someone said the other day on one of my videos, they said, breaking and entering, what did they say? Breaking and entering, so B and E, that's not very sharp. That's not very smart to do that, breaking and entering. So you can remember that too. That's another way of thinking about it. You know, don't break into someone's house. B and E, don't have a sharp. So with that being said, watch this. We start on A. That's our open string, right? The fifth string's open, and it's very easy. We say A. Does A have a sharp? Yes. After A, we go to B. Does B have a sharp? Nope. Goes to C. C have a sharp? Yes. A, B, C, D. D have a sharp? Yeah. D sharp. A, B, C, D, E. Does E have a sharp? No. So straight to F. Does F have a sharp? Yes. G. Does G have a sharp? Yup. And then back to A again. So if you know the names of your open strings, and then you know that this is going up the alphabet, and if you know your alphabet already, I'm assuming you do, and we only have to go to G, so you only need to know part of your alphabet, so don't even freak out about that for those of you that don't know your alphabet yet. Then A to G, and we're just walking up the fretboard. Now remember, every note has a sharp except for B and E, like I said. So A through G, B and E don't have a sharp. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, straight to F, F sharp, right? So E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then back to A again. It's that easy. So as long as you know what the open string is, and then you're just starting from there. So if you're starting on E, you know that E doesn't have sharp, so that the very next note is an F. You know there's no E sharp because there is no E sharp, okay? And for those of you that want to get technical, I've been to music school too. Yes, there is something called an E sharp, but not like you and I think about it. Not what we're talking about right now. It's really an F, okay? So you might as well just call it an F. There's some reasons why you might want to call it an E sharp, but don't even worry about that. You're never in your life going to experience that probably, unless you're a conductor, unless you're John Williams and you're scoring for a major Hollywood picture. Just don't worry about that. There's always that guy out there who says, yeah, but. Just trust me, 99% of the time you're never going to run into this. B and E don't have a sharp, so if you know your open strings, you literally can go up the fretboard and know every note always. And remember, it starts over right here at the 12th fret. So this is in low E, that's an E, that's an E. So E, A, D, G, B, E, same notes is down below at the nut. E, A, D, G, B, E, right across the 12th fret. In fact, I call this a springboard, because if somebody asked you what this note is right here, you would know already, because you did this already, you would know that that's an F. And you would know it not because we had to go from here, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and go all the way up. You would know that this is a springboard and that the notes are E, A, D, G, B, E right across the 12th fret, just like they are at the open string. So you would know that one fret up from that is an F, okay? That's called a springboard, what I call a springboard, okay? Now, you have them at the nut, at the 12th fret, and the 24th fret if you have a 24 fret guitar. Why would that be helpful, Eric? Well, even if you don't, you could go backwards from it if you knew where that was at, the 24th fret. Same thing with this. If somebody asked you what this note is right here, you don't have to start from E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and go straight up, you know, until you get to this note right here. You can go backwards in the alphabet. And if you know this is an E, and you know the letter before it's a D, and if you know that D has a sharp, which you know already, because that's number 3, every note has a sharp except for B and E, right? Since you know that already, then if this is an E, then we would know that the letter before it's a D, and we know it since it has a sharp, that must be the D sharp. Now, this is more of a conceptual thing where, like, you're going to get it at first, okay? It may take a few times going over this. It's going to take a minute for you to get it, right? But then once you do get it, to get quick at it is a whole nother thing, right? My kid can recite the alphabet, but probably not as fast as I can because I've done it a lot more than him. And so whatever you do, whatever you practice, you're going to get good at. So this is something that you want to get good at, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get. The better you're going to get at it, okay? Another thing to remember is, remember how we tune the strings at the 5th fret here? You ever do that? And then down here for the B string, you have to go down a half step and then back up. You know how we do that? Yeah, shaking your head? Yeah, good. Then we know that that this 5th fret of the low E string, right? We know that that is that 5th fret is the low E string. We know that's an A, right? And we have an A string right here, right? So if this is the 5th fret and that's an A, and we're tuning to an A, then they should be the same note. Now, why is that beneficial to us? Because if someone says, what is this note? Again, you don't have to count from here. You don't have to go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, right? You can easily just say, hey, that's an A. We know that because we're tuning the guitar. Does that make sense? Okay, so if someone said, what is this note right here? Well, we would know that that's an A sharp. Sorry, my neighbors just came by to bring an invitation, and we social distancing, and we're live, so sorry. So this is an A sharp. Does that make sense? So we have springboards, 12th fret, or 0 fret, 12th fret, 24 if you have it. The 5th fret is a great one because, again, that's the tuning bit. I've got more on this in the PDF, like the PDF that I have for you inside of UGS Standard, which you get for free today. So this makes a lot more sense if you can see it on the PDF. You can see the arrows, and it'll all make sense to you. But you got to know this stuff. This is part of those foundational bits that if you don't have, it's going to be really, really, really difficult for you to understand the guitar whatsoever. And so many people are going around going, I don't understand the guitar. I don't get it. And it's because they keep, number one, they may not know what to study, or number two, they keep skipping it thinking, well, that's too foundational. Yeah, no, there is no such thing as too foundational. That's ridiculous, right? That's like saying, yeah, I want to build this real nice house, but hey guys, go light on the cement there for the foundation. I'm trying to cut some dollars here, right? No, there's no such thing as a foundation that's too strong. You're never going to like have a problem with too strong of a foundation. And in fact, most pros at anything will tell you, know your foundational stuff. Know that beginner stuff that's absolutely going to be what you build everything else on, okay? So don't forget that. All right, so 5th fret is also one. Now, remember, if we go 12 frets above the 5th fret, we have the 17th fret. So if somebody asks me what this note is right here, I don't have to guess, and I'm not memorizing it. I know that this note right here is an A, because I know this note's an A. Because when I'm tuning the A string to the 5th fret of the low E, it's the same note. So if I know that that's an A, then I know 12 frets up is an A. And then I can, so automatically I'm starting over again here. So if somebody asked me what this note is, I would know it's a G sharp, because it's a half step behind the A, and I know that the earlier note is a G. Does that make sense? And it has a sharp. So if this doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Everybody learns this in their own time, but everybody has to learn it. No, there are no shortcuts. There's just learning the right stuff in the right order and then applying it, and then you're going to get this. But if you don't know it, okay, ooh, I got to plug my phone in because this thing's going to go dead on me. So if you don't know that, or if you need more help with that, then I've got the medicine for what ails you. It's inside the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. The second link below will get you in there, and there's a PDF specifically for that lesson, okay? All right, that's literally it for the beginner part of this lesson. Let's get into some questions right now. Oh, where's my water? So sad, I'm really thirsty. Okay, let's get into some questions here, shall we? And then we'll get into the advanced section of the program at noon, okay, which will be about 40 minutes from now. All right, excellent. What's the difference between a key and a scale? Okay, that's a great question. A key is, what am I hearing? Oh, that's my boy. My boy's playing, he's playing the pump organ. We have a pump organ upstairs. Works with air. Pretty cool. It's not really a pump organ, but it's an old school, uses air, but it's a keyboard. It's wicked cool. Okay, so what's the difference between a key and a scale? The key is the central, if you will, it's the central note or the central chord that all the other notes revolve around. So earlier I was just playing this bit here. Goes like this. Ever heard that song? It's called Grapevine Fires. It's by Death Cab for Cutie. Wonderful band. Beautiful, beautiful vocalists singing all. They're amazing. So this song, this is its tonal center, that note right there. Okay? It's the chord that all the other notes dance around. There are some theoretical reasons why we understand it as being the tonal center. You don't have to know that. You might not know that right now. That's okay. But basically, in a key or a tonal center, it's the one note or the one chord that all the other notes and chords revolve around. If it were a title of a movie, it would be the central theme of the movie or the title of the movie. It's like, if you're going to go see Bridesmaids, you know there's probably going to be bridesmaids in it at some point. If we're in the key of C, you can pretty much guess that the note C is that's going to appear in that key. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, no sharps or flats. That's the key. A scale is just a set of notes. We can just, real generically say it's a set of notes. And so it could be the pentatonic scale, it could be the major, it could be the minor, it could be the Phrygian mode. So those are all scales. It could be the whole tone scale or the chromatic scale, but it has a certain structure. But that could be in any key, any particular key. So you could put S scale in any particular key. Does that make sense? So they're definitely different. All right. Okay, so what's the difference between a key and scale? Okay, good. We got that one. Right. Okay, good. Oh, good. Daniela, Eureka, did not know about the 12th fret starting again. Springboard, thank you. Daniela, that's right, good. And friends, remember this. Really try to have a humble view of this, because I see people all the time on the interwebs, on the tubes, saying, you know, putting beginners down as if they weren't a beginner at one point, as if they didn't learn the major scale or a springboard or something at one point. Everybody learns it one day. And so it's a ridiculous notion to assume that someone's dumb or they should have that or something, as if they are you and walking through your life and they're your age and they have all your experiences. That's goofy. So just remember, Danielle, thank you so much for making that known, that that was a eureka moment for you. That's why I do this. A lot of folks, you know, they go, wow, you're doing a lot of beginner stuff. Well, the beginner stuff is very, very important. If you want advanced stuff, that I have tons of that inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. I mean, I've done 3,000 something videos, so we get into some advanced stuff. But this is the most important stuff, is this foundational beginner stuff. If you don't have this, is why I emphasize it so much, is because your problems that you're having have nothing to do with advanced things. I can almost guarantee you, 99% of the times they have to do because you haven't established something foundational. That's your issue. It's not going to be some advanced issue. Most often it's not. Okay. John Black, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for the super kind donation, John. You're so welcome. I love doing this as much as you guys like me being here. I love doing it for you guys, so thank you. Do you not just pluck the strings so that the tuning app dings tuned? Yeah, that's how you tune your guitar. Yes, that is how you're, so that tuning app dings tuned. So you can see we're all over the place as far as beginners to advanced players here. So Julia's just downloaded Guitar Tuna, which is an app that when you pluck the string, it will ding when you're in tune. Super, super easy. They're making it really super easy for folks. So much so that they may not dig in because it's so easy, okay? Patrick's saying, very well said, Eric. I see the gaps where I may have missed something that I ought to have learned. Yes, Patrick, and that is very true. Folks get into UGS standard all the time, even folks that have been playing for a long time, and they go, why didn't my guitar teacher tell me that? That's why I didn't understand how to build chords. It's because I didn't understand this. Happens all the time. That's why I give this stuff out for free too, so you guys can get it. Could you please elaborate how to identify the tonal center? So the tonal center, gosh, I feel like I've answered this question every day during these broadcasts. Yeah, so it's an important one, right? So how do you identify the tonal center? The tonal center is, I always say, imagine yourself being a detective who's trying to find out who did a crime. And so to do that, if you're a good detective and you're not just flippantly throwing people in jail on a whim, you're going to go through all the clues and you're going to really pore over them, right? So you're going to say, the first chord of the song, what is that? Oh, it's a C. Okay. The first chord of the song is oftentimes the tonal center. Not always. In the example that I just played for you, it's not. But it oftentimes is. So, again, since it's not always, we can't just go on that. We need to use that as clue one. What's the first chord of the song, right? What is the last chord of the song? A lot of times when the song ends, right, it's going to end straight up on a whatever that chord is, and you're going to be like, okay, boom, that sounds like the song is resolved. And that's because it's ending on the tonic. That's a good place to end. It's kind of like the Disney movies where everything's running amok, and you know the bad guy's going to win. It's just, there's no way they can escape. I mean, I saw the guy die. I mean, the beast died. The guy killed him. He was dead, you know, and then here comes the rain, and now, oh, he turns into the beautiful prince, and it's happily ever after, right? That's a great ending. That's kind of like the cadence at the end of a great song. It's going to end on the tonic. It's going to end on the key, right? In classical music, it's bump, bump, ba-bum. Everybody claps because they feel that sense of finality because the cadence says this is the end of the song. So usually the very last chord of a song will tell you what the tonal center is as well, but not always. Sometimes it could end on a different chord, but not usually. Also, if there's a fade out and you can't ever hear what the band did at the end, you're not going to know that either. So that's clue 2, is what the last chord of the song is. You can also go to the last note of the chorus. It's usually going to be the note that is the letter name of the tonic, okay? If it's a C sharp, then that's what the singer's singing, then usually that's what it is. You can also tell from the chords and the notes that are involved. So for instance, if you have a song that there are no sharps and flats, it's probably in the key of C or probably in the key of A minor, because both of those keys, one is relative, they're both related to each other. One's the minor tonal center, the other one's the major tonal center, but they share the same sets of notes, major and minor, relative, major and minor. I have videos on this on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage relative. Okay, and so if a song has only one sharp in it, if it has a F sharp in it, then it's probably in the key of G or its relative minor key of E minor, okay? So you can tell from the sets of notes as well. You can tell from the sets of chords, but you're not going to know from the sets of notes, and you're not going to know from the sets of chords until you buckle down and you study that stuff a little bit. And when I say study a little bit, it's not very much at all. That's what UGS Standard is all about, showing you guys how to do that, okay? So a lot of times when you guys ask me these questions, I can't give you the whole backstory, because if I did that every time, I'd be able to answer like 2 or 3 questions during these broadcasts, instead of being able to get to like 50 questions and directing you to a place that's going to even give you a more fulfilling, more detailed answer. So I have to send you to a place. UGS Standard is where you want to start, and then I've got lots of videos on YouTube and what have you that'll help fill in those gaps. Cool? Okay. Okay. At what hertz do I set my metronome? I was told default is 440. What do you recommend? Should I rather use the built-in tuner? David, most tuners are on 440. That's it. Okay, so just leave it at 440. That's what 99.9% of the world tunes to. It's changed over the years. It's been 435. It's been 445. It's been 437. It's been 432. It's been lots of different measurements, right? Lots of different frequencies, okay? But 440 is what people currently tune to. Why would you tune a guitar to anything other than the usual open strings? Stu Boy is asking. So Stu Boy, what I was saying was, like, if I can hear that my guitar is out of tune and I don't want to get my tuner and I don't want to bother with that, well, then what I might do is I might say, well, I can hear that B string is out. So then what I would do is I would find the G that's above it, and I would play the B on the G string, right? G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then I'd play the B string, and those 2 notes should be the same. So if I knew that B string was out and I didn't want to grab my tuner, I could go, okay, this is a B on the G string, and I'm going to pluck the B string and see if it's in tune. Oh, it's not, it's flat. So then I just tune it. Now they're in tune, and I didn't have to go grab my tuner. So it's a quick thing that musicians do in order to be able to tune the guitar to itself. So that's one reason why you might want to do that. There are other reasons. As you get more advanced in your tuning and what have you, you'll find that your guitar may be more evenly tuned if you tune some different ways, like tune to harmonics or tune to other strings that are, or other frets that are in the middle of the guitar and what have you. There are some tricks for that, for sure. because the guitar is not, these strings could be tuned perfectly, E, A, D, G, B, E, but then as you go up the fretboard, it may not be quite as in tune as it was down here. That's called intonation, and that has to do with the adjustment of the string length between the nut and the bridge. And if that's not tweaked down perfectly, then your intonation is going to be off. I mean, some chords are going to sound in tune and others are not, okay? So for that, I suggest going to a guitar luthier and having them set it up. Don't try to do it yourself. If you're going to try to do it yourself, there's tons of videos on YouTube that will show you exactly how to do this. John, okay, so we got a donation from John. Thank you so much, sir. We got a donation from BJ, Ditto Looper or Trio Plus. BJ, I like the Ditto Looper. The Trio is cool. The Trio Plus is cool did I give one of these away? I think I gave the Trio away too, right? Did we give all those away? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did. We gave the Trio away. I gave a bunch of pedals away. That was one that I gave away. It has bass and drums in it, and they sound okay, but you really have to get to understand how to use that looper pedal. And so for me, I find that I spend way too much time on my Kemper as it is. So I want to do more playing. I'm not a true Kemper aficionado because there's stuff to know there, and it takes time and investing in that. So for me, I try not to get equipment that usurps too much of my time for playing, but more or less these days teaching. I don't like things that take away from that time of doing all that stuff. So for me, I would choose the Ditto, but there's only a best for you. I would prefer the Ditto because it's very easy. It's just super cut and dry, as opposed to the Trio Plus, which is going to take some time to learn. Esther, bless you, Eric, for everything you do for us. Keep safe. Thank you so much, Esther. That's super kind. I really, really appreciate it. Playing outside in front of friends, pedal or clip-on tuner. It depends what you like. Clip-on tuner is good, pedal's good. What do you like? That's honestly what you want to look for. I like the pedal because I can just click on it and I could be talking and I could be looking down at the floor. I don't need to be messing around with touching this. And I don't like the way these look on the headstock. Rick Beato had a thing where the pet peeves of his, and that was one of his pet peeves. And I agree. I hate these sitting on the guitar. It looks goofy. I don't know why. It doesn't look very rock and roll to me. Eric, thanks for the donation, friend. I'm in the advanced lessons in UGS Pro, but still learning every day from your 30-day challenge. Thank you, Eric. Bam, there you go. Not from me, but from Eric. He's in the advanced lessons in UGS Pro, but he's still learning stuff from the 30-day challenge because we keep hitting these fundamental things, and you can't hit the fundamental things enough. I mean, how is it that I've been playing for 30-something years and I still am finding stuff all the time on the guitar? How can that be? Okay, this is why I try to share this stuff with you, because it's going to advance you way quicker than I advance because I'm stumbling across them myself. All right? So, Eric, thank you for that testimonial. Appreciate that, friend. Okay, how do you deal with intonation on an acoustic? Isaac, take it to a guitar luthier. Otherwise, there are things that can be done as far as adjusting the bridge, getting an adjustable bridge, getting a pre-intonated bridge that's generally in the right location, okay? But for the most part, you don't have to worry about it as much with acoustic because you're not playing way up in the stratosphere on the acoustic, right? You're typically playing in the lower position there. All right, great. Can you show how the octaves align on the neck? Is there an easy way to view the octaves? Yes, there's a super easy way to know the octaves. Can you show how octaves align on the neck? Yes. So first off, right, anything that you do in one position, if you do it 12 frets up, it is also the octave. So for instance, E, A, D, G, B, E, right? Those are the open strings. E, A, D, G, B, E. And if you went to the 12th fret, you got E, A, D, G, B, E. Same thing, right? Well, same is true if I hold an A minor chord here. If I hold an A minor chord here, then 12 frets up from that is also an A minor chord. C chord, right? Anything you do up 12 frets is also an octave. So that's as far as the non-movable octaves, but if you're fretting, then I suppose that's moving. And then the other octaves that you could remember is if you're going from the 6th string here to the 4th string, you go down 2 strings, 1, 2, and up 2 frets, 1, 2, and that's an octave. So again, here's the G, you're gonna go down 2 strings, up 2 frets, and that's an octave. And this is movable. Okay, probably with a guitar that's in tune though. Okay, so oh man, another aha moment. Good, Gene. Wonderful. Thank you. Glad you got that. Okay, now same thing with the 5th fret. Watch. 5th fret, we go down 2 strings, 1, 2, and up 2 frets, 1, 2. Do that again. Here's a C. Down 2 strings, 1, 2, up 2 frets, 1, 2, and that's an octave. Now, on the 4th and 3rd strings, you have to go up another fret. So here we are. 3rd fret, or 3rd, let's see, the 4th string here. 4th string, this is an F. Now, how do I know that off the top of my head? I know it because I'm using this springboard down here. I'm using association, okay? Again, if you're not using association, you are truly making life much harder, especially on the guitar here, okay? So you always want to use association. You want to use these tools that I'm teaching you so that this is why I like the pedal tuner, right? Because again, I'm not having to fiddle with the little guy here, and I can just click a pedal and I'm talking to the crowd while I'm tuning my guitar. So that's why I prefer the pedal, but you may like the clip-on tuner better. Okay, so if we're talking about the 4th string here, right? There's an F, and I know that off the top of my head because if I go backwards, 2 frets and down 2 strings, I got another F there. Steven, thanks for the fun yippee skippy #1 fan avocado dude just running and burning some avocado fat off there. Thank you so much, brother. I really truly appreciate that. Thank you for the donation, bud. Right, so there's our F, if you will. And if we wanted to go up an octave from this, watch. On the 4th string or the 3rd string, we have to do the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down 2 strings, 1, 2, and up 3 frets, 1, 2, 3. So now that should be an octave. And that's the lower octave, right? And up 12 frets. Yeah? So also, same thing with the 3rd string. So this right here, this note is a B flat. Now, how did I know that off the top of my head? I knew that because this is a B flat, and I'm just working backwards. So I'm using a few different things. I'm using what I showed you in the first part of the program, open strings, B and E don't have a sharp, musical alphabet goes from A to G, and then you get that basic bit, and then you start using these springboards and these other tricks, and bam, before you know it, you can navigate the neck very, very quickly without memorizing anything. So people say, yeah, but you're memorizing. Am I memorizing? Did you memorize how to count 1 to 1 billion? Because I haven't. I've never even counted 1 to 1 billion or 1 to 1 million. I don't think I've counted 1 to 1,000 in my life. That'd be really boring. But I know I could do it because of the protocol, because of a system that was created, the decimal system, right? 0 through 9, and then it starts over again, right? And you move the decimal over. That's how we can count 1 to 1 zillion if we wanted to, and have never done it before. So you can do this. It's the same way. It's the same bit there. So again, I said this note here, and I said I knew it was a B flat because I could go back 2 frets and up 2 strings, and that's a B flat. So I know that's a B flat, and then I would know that this is a B flat as well, or an A sharp, however you want to look at it. So here is my note, and then I'm going to go down 2 strings, 1, 2, and up 3 frets, 1, 2, 3. And there's my B flat. Make sense? Okay, so those are movable springboards. I have another movable springboard for you here that not a lot of people know of or think of, so I'll show you that here as well. But nonetheless, that's what you want to do. You want to get familiar with your octaves. So just remember that from the 6th string and 5th string root, you're going to go down 2, up 2. And those are the ones you're going to use the most. But from the 4th and 3rd string, you're going to go down 2, up 3. Okay? 6th and 5th string, down 2, up 2. 4th and 3rd string, down 2, up 3. Get it? Got it? Good. Here's another one. This is another octave that not a lot of people see. And this is on the 5th string and the 2nd string. Easy enough. Now, where did I get that? Well, one way you could think about it is you play this C chord here, and your 3rd finger and your 1st finger are both C's. So those are octaves, and so it would stand to reason that we could just move that linearly up the fretboard, and it's going to recreate the same thing every single time. Does that make sense? Woo! Hoo-hoo! Brain is lit up, right? All sorts of aha moments happening right now. I know it. I can feel it. Eric Johnson uses those. Yeah. Yep. And so does Hendrix. Yeah. Okay. Someone's saying, make a vid to learn how to play guitar. That's a great idea, Big. I should do that. I should create a video on how to play guitar. Big, Ames, where have you been, friend? Second link below is a whole course for you on how to play guitar. It's not just one video, it's a whole course. This is kind of what I do with my life. I've kind of made a few thousand videos. I've done this for like decades, almost 4 decades. And I've taught a few tens of thousands of people. And I have a free course for you. It's the second link below. So I've created more than one video on it. I've created thousands of videos on it. What's the purpose of flats if they're really sharps? William Wallace. Think about them as just a name. So someone could call you William. Someone could call you Mr. Wallace. Someone could call you Braveheart. Someone could call you, whatever. They could call you different names, but you'd answer by them all, wouldn't you, right? So think about that. It's just a name. That's all it is. It doesn't really mean anything. We could put any label we want on it. It's just back in the day. That's what they came up with, okay? Scarescape says, lit. Nice. And Scarescapes, I checked out your profile the other day. I was interested in it because I saw you followed me on Instagram. And you do does horror flicks, right? How cool is that? I want to delve into that more. I want to know more about what you do there because I think that's cool. I love cinematography, and I used to be a big fan of horror flicks. Not as much these days, but a good one. A good one I do. Okay, great questions here, friends. Great questions. Let me get back because I know other folks have some that I probably missed. What are the purposes of 7 and 8 strings guitar, and how does a 6 string map to them? Jason. So it's very similar. Unless you have a 7 or 8 string guitar, I'm not going to delve into exactly how it's mapped out, but it's very, very similar. Basically, on a 7 string guitar, you're going to have a B string, and as far as an 8 string guitar, I think they may be sticking another string on the bottom or maybe one on the top. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, that's what you're talking about. It's just more notes to choose from. That's all it is. That's the purpose. It's just there is no purpose per se. It's just more. That's all it is. And it's really going to follow it very similarly. I went to your website for that free PDF. However, I don't find it here, and it was never sent to my email. Okay, friends, Mind Talks. The very first link below is the PDF. You don't have to go to my website. It's the first link. You just click on it, and then you should be able to download it. If you can't download it, it's a problem with your system, not with us, because we've had thousands of folks download this already. So, first link below, Mind Talks. Get it right now and let me know how you fare with that, okay? Standard tuning. Oh, Paul is saying, so this is our is this our 8-string guitar? Okay, so you're saying there is an F sharp, so it's actually an even lower note, an F sharp, a B, an E, A, D. Okay, so yeah, so E, A, D, G, B, E is a regular tuned guitar. So the B string would be on a 7-string guitar, and an F sharp would be on an 8-string guitar. Beautiful, Paul. Thank you for letting us know that. Okay, there you go. Beginner and learn tons of stuff from other people. How do I transition to your stuff? Gary, chances are it's going to be similar if they taught it correctly, right? If they're talking about basic music theory and basic understanding of the guitar and stuff. So how do you transition to it? Gary, second link below, click the second link below and get into at least Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. That's what I'm providing for you today for free. It's the top 30 lessons that I teach all my students. Every single one of those lessons is so chock full of foundational goodies that are absolutely going to make you a powerhouse and give you a strong, solid foundation. Without it, you're building on a sandy foundation. Don't do that. So Gary, start there. That's free. If you want to go further with it, you can. I've got stuff for you, but that's where to begin, okay? Okay, on my iPad, links not showing up here either. Well, yeah, they are. Here, let me show you what to do. If you're on your iPad, I'm looking at it right now. So there may be a little arrow that you need to click, but I'm like literally looking at it right now. And if I click on it, I'm on an iPad. And I'm just checking for you guys. Yes, 100%. It's showing up right here. I'm like literally looking at it. I just went to it. Check it. Oh, where'd it go? Look, there it is right there. Bam. I literally just went to it. So if you're looking, if you're on, this is so weird. It's like we're going into space here. There, look, there's a guy teaching guitar. It looks just like me. Oh, he's got an iPad in his hand and he's showing people about the iPad. This is weird. Okay, so right here, if you click right there, boop, you do that, it's going to open up. So that very first link, it's going to open up into, there you go, and there's the PDF for you to download, okay? So, yeah, you can do this from the iPad as well. Cool? All right? Okay. Let's get into it. All right. What are some easy songs for beginner guitar players? I'm talking G, E, A, C, D, E minor. Julia. I have tons of them. I've got 1,300 videos on YouTube. I don't know what you like, Julia. You may like modern rock, you may like pop, you may like punk, and I got something for you. I got something for everybody in there. So what you want to do is on YouTube, if you like the way that I teach, search YourGuitarSage and your favorite artist. YourGuitarSage, The Strokes. YourGuitarSage, Red Hot Chili Peppers. YourGuitarSage, ZZ Top. YourGuitarSage, Beatles. That's what you want to do, okay? Okay. What methods do you suggest for perfecting timing, rhythm? I don't enjoy practicing with a metronome. Any other ways? Pratik, you could practice working with tracks that were recorded to metronomes, you know? You could work with some sort of timing. Work with other songs that were recorded, because chances are those were recorded with metronomes, so they're going to be in time, so that's another way. Practice, 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 practice. You could literally just practice by yourself, and your timing's going to get better because you're listening to music that has good timing, so chances are you're going to be able to play in timing just by playing. The more you play, okay? Friends, if you have not already, don't do it again if you have, but please like this video. Like it if you haven't already. Share it with a friend if you haven't already. We have nearly 600 folks in here. I'd love to break that 600 mark again like we did yesterday. That was really a lot of fun. Okay. All right, someone's asking here, do they call it a G sharp instead of an A flat in the key of A because the key of A needs a G note in it? G sharp is not an A flat before 8th note, same note, different name. Anthony, look at Anthony. Without even having been told this, he used his logic to determine this. So earlier when I said there is no such thing as an E sharp, and I said there's always some joker out there who's going to say, yeah, there is. It's because, yes, if you are playing in a key that doesn't have each letter represented, then that's what we do as musicians, because it makes a lot more sense to say, you know, I don't know what an example would be because I just don't think about this, you know, but for those that read music, it would make a lot more sense. But if you had an E and an E sharp in the same key, you could technically have both of those notes in the same key, but you wouldn't call it an E and an E sharp. You would call it an E and an F, okay? Or, and that's not even a good example because let's say you had an F and an F sharp in the same key, okay? Let's say you had an F and an F sharp in the same key. You would call the F sharp a G flat because it represents the G. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you got it. Nice. Christos is saying, is the melodic nature of a song more reliant on the notes played or the rhythm they're played at? Can you just play any notes and make them sound good? You know, this is a subject that is difficult to answer because it just, there's so many dependencies, right? You'd have to do a real broad stroke on this. It's like asking, let's make this graphic art for a minute. So is the graphic nature of a song or the color theory of a picture more reliant on the paint that's being painted or the canvas that they're being that they're being painted on? You know what I mean? So can you just use any paint and make them look pretty? I like to change things like that and compare it to other art forms because a lot of times it will give you your answer. I know that sounds weird, but this is why things work a lot the way that I've processed them, is because if I think about it that way, I say, well, of course you could use any color you want. I've seen pictures that just have 2-3 colors and they look great. Why would they just do that, pick 2 or 3 colors when they have the whole spectrum? Well, because they're trying to emphasize something. They're trying to specifically get a feel. You know, if you look at the scream, right, the picture, the scream, you will see certain colors and certain motifs used in, is that motifs? Motifs just in music. Certain ideas used that are going to give you a certain feel that if it was just like all the colors and all the paintbrush strokes, it wouldn't give you that feel, right? So I guess the answer is, it's just a really broad question and it can't really be answered accurately. You just got to get involved. You just have to get involved with the music and start digging around and you're going to see. I'm sorry if that was a lame answer, but there's no real proper way to answer that without me being egoic and acting like I know the answer. No one knows the answer to that. It's not really that it can be defined. It's not like a mystery answer. It's one of those things that it's a subjective answer. How about that? How can you identify the key, or how does a key get its name? So I mentioned how to identify the key, but essentially the subset of notes, the subset of chords that make up a song determine what the tonal center is, okay? And you can think about it like the sun in the center of the solar system. If we weren't told that the sun is not the center of the solar system, like somebody argued with me on YouTube the other day, they said the sun's not the center of the solar system. And I was thinking, okay, is this a flat earth thing? What am I dealing with here? So I just said, okay, yeah, you're probably right. Because I've learned not to incite crazy people. But he says the sun's not the center of the solar system. Now, he may not be crazy because I've only been told that the sun's the center of the solar system. But nonetheless, let's act like it is. And all the planets revolve around it. Well, the same thing when it comes to music. We've got a certain note and a certain chord that's our tonal center, and all the other notes revolve around it and want to want to magnetically, if you will, come back to it and resolve back to it. Now that can actually be proved a lot easier than the sun being the center of the solar system. So the second one, I definitely believe, the sun being the center of the solar system, I got to just go on what they've told me. I feel pretty sure about that. But what is modes in guitar? Modes are subsets of the major scale. We're going to talk about that in about 4 minutes. I'm going to go over the major scale with you when we start getting into our intermediate advanced lesson. So the guitarist, hit me up after the 1 hour mark here, and then we're going to get into it, okay? But let me get through the beginner part of the major scale first, because it's not going to make sense to you. By the way, we're over 600 friends, so woohoo! Thank you so much for liking, and thank you so much for sharing. You rule. Thank you. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about those modes in a bit here. Okay. Okay, someone's asking, artificial harmonics or pinch harmonics. Someone's asking about pinch harmonics. Okay, so a pinch harmonic, it's going to sound best with a different guitar here. Let's try this, can I? Let's get a different tone here. Uh-oh. Where'd my tone go? Huh. What the heck? I don't know where all my sound went. What the? Dear Lord in heaven above. Well, that's loud. Okay. Okay, so a pinch harmonic sounds like this. That's a pinch harmonic, and basically we get that typically on the lower strings, on the lower frets, by picking the note and allowing the string to nick our finger as we play. Okay, watch this. If I just pick the string and I just let it sing out, then doesn't do anything strange. But if I pick it and I let that string hit the side of my thumb, same thing with a low E string. Isn't that a barrel of monkeys? It sure is, especially when you add some vibrato or a bend with it. It sounds awesome. Brent, thanks for the donation, friend. Thank you, Sage. With your system, your live streams and videos, I can answer many of the questions asked here. Watch his videos. Thanks again. Oh, beautiful. Brent, thank you so much, friend. He's in the program already, and he's donating. Man, that's amazing. So kind, bud. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A million thank yous, bud. So, man, I tell you what, I wish I had my program back in the day, because it would have saved me thousands of dollars. Folks sometimes want to visit me here and take a lesson from me, and I'm like, cool, we can, but I'm a really busy dude. I'm just saying I'm busy because I got a family and I got business and stuff like that, and videos and all sorts of stuff. So I charge $200 an hour, which literally you can get inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System for the rest of your life for less than 2 lessons with me. So, and it's the same dude in the same studio, but I'm always available to you, and I'm teaching you way more than I'd be able to teach in 2 hours. So I highly suggest doing that, okay? Brent, thanks so much for the kind donation, friend. Super, super kind. Okay, now, let's do this. Let's get into the second part of the program now, shall we? You cool with that? Okay, good. It's so funny. On my iPad here, I have to actually watch an ad before I can watch myself play. It's hilarious. Who's this guy? This goofy guy. Come on, gotta get out of here, pal. He's saying, you can't learn guitar on YouTube. You're doing it right now, aren't you? I love that. They put that on all my vids. Okay, so friends, welcome to the 30-Day Guitar Challenge. It is April the 11th, and it's the 11th day of the 30-Day Guitar Challenge. This is the intermediate and advanced section that we're now going to do, okay? And I just saw 2 donations come in, so I want to address those first very quickly because that's really kind. Wayne, thank you so much. You know I love a flying avocado. There's nothing funnier than a flying avocado with a cape, and that's what you just sent me. Thank you, buddy. And here's one saying, oh, namaste. Thank you so much, Anthony from Canada. Beautiful. Thank you so much, friends. Super kind. Means a lot, I promise you. I mean that. Thank you. So it's the 11th day of the 30-Day Guitar Challenge, where I said I would go live with you every single day for the month of April, 2 hours, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. 11 to 12 is our beginner. From 12 to 1 is our advanced lesson. For the first hour here, I'm walking you through each lesson within the Unstoppable Guitar System standard. It's what I'm giving you guys today for free. Now, I've said this probably 700 times or so since I've done these live broadcasts. Probably 700, 800 times. And you still haven't gotten the free course. Wow, what are you doing? You're making it really hard for me. I'm trying to help you play guitar. So I'm not talking to you. You downloaded it already. I'm talking to you. You know exactly who I'm talking to. You have not gone to the second link below and got into the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which I give you for free. Do that because it's going to answer a bunch of questions for you so that when you join us for these live broadcasts, which I do all throughout the year, by the way, it will give you access. You're going to know much of what I'm talking about, and then when I give you a good nugget that's more advanced, you're not going to be lost because you're going to have the solid foundation built, okay? Second link below, UGS Standard. Get in there today, my friends. At least in there, and it's free, okay? Do that, please, okay? You should have downloaded the PDF right here, which is the first link right below, and it will give you access to everything we're doing every single day, along with a bunch of other stuff. Cool? So you did that. You also just went to UGS Standard. You've already got that tab open, so as soon as we're done here, you're going to join that, and you're going to have the community and everything else in there. Do that. Now that you've done that, if you haven't already liked this video, since you're coming here for the intermediate advanced lesson, we have 623 folks in the program right now. Love that. I'd love to get it over 700. So if you share it, that may just happen today. Okay, friends, let's talk about the major scale. We've talked about it sporadically over the last few days here, but I want to address it specifically here today, show you how that you can play it in every key. Someone asked about, that's my kid playing again. Someone asked about the modes, the jazz modes, so we're going to talk about that. We'll associate that to the major scale because I told you that the major scale gives you not only the major scale, but it also gives you all 7 of the modes. It also gives you the minor scale, also gives you major pentatonic, gives you minor pentatonic. So it gives you a slew. Like what is that? That is major, minor, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, the 7 modes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 11 times 12. It's a lot. That's how much it equals, a lot. Okay, so there you go. Let's talk about it, and let's go ahead and let's learn how to form the major scale, okay? Now, I know a lot of you know this already because we've kind of been over it the last few days, but stick with me because there's going to be more that you're going to learn today because we're going to talk about the modes and what have you, okay? The major scale, again, is the yardstick. The major scale for the musician is the tape measure or the yardstick for a carpenter. If a carpenter forgets their tape measure that day, you don't want them putting your windows in or your doors or anything like that, or building a deck for you, because it's going to be crazy wonky because they're not using the standard. Well, for musicians, the major scale is the standard. And what I mean by that is it's the benchmark in which we measure our chord progressions, the natural number system, the classical numbering system, the modes. It's where we get our modes from. It's where we get the pentatonics from. It's where we embellish chords like 13s and 11s and 9s and 7s and all that. All that stuff's coming from the major scale. So everything comes from that. Not only that, 99.999% of all the music that you've ever heard in your life comes from the major scale or its derivatives, which is the minor scale, okay? And the modes, which we rarely use, but they're there, okay? We'll talk about them. So all that to say, the major scale is pretty dang important, and you should know it. So let's learn it, okay? Now, we mentioned earlier that the distance between one fret and the next is known as a half step. So 2 half steps together make a whole step, right? So from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret is a whole step. Half step, whole step. Some people know them as tones and semitones. We're calling them whole steps and half steps. So here we go. The construction of the major scale in every key, on every instrument, since the beginning of time to the end of time, amen, goes like this. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Okay? I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this on the screen. You take a screenshot of it, and then boom, bingo, fango, jango. Then you've got it for yourself, okay? Whole step, half step, whole, half. That's the construction of the major scale. That is the most important. Thank you, Nunya, for posting that. This is the most important thing for you to know in regards to the construction of 99% of everything that you've ever heard musically. Jazz, rock, blues, country, classical, it don't matter. It's covered by this in some way, okay? Now, we said half steps, 1 fret in the next. A whole step is 2 frets. So now watch this. We could literally take any fret. I'm not even going to name the note. And I will play all the correct sharps and all the correct flats or whatever in that specific key, whether I even know what the tonal center is or not, only because I'm using relativity. I'm using the actual scale to determine the scale steps. And if you do this, and if you think this way, you're not going to get bogged down by sharps and flats and, well, what about this key? Well, I've never thought of that ever in my life. And I've somehow survived as a musician for like 30-something years. Most musician friends that I know, they don't think about this either. There's just not a need to unless there's a need to. And I've never really come across it. You know, as a pit musician or someone reading music, yeah, it's helpful to know sharps and flats. And I know all the sharps and flats, but what I'm saying is I don't use it on a daily basis. I can identify them for you, but I don't use them. I'll play all the modes for you in any key, and I don't use them. So there's something to learn from that as well, okay? So with that being said, here we go. I'm just picking this key, whatever this key is. Do you know what key that is? You can let folks know what key it is. I do, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to show you how this works, even if we don't know the name of the key. So here we go. We hit our first note. Then we proceed with the pattern. Whole, half, whole, half. Thank you, Vincent. It's F sharp. So here we go. Here's our first note. Then we're going to go whole, and you don't say whole until you move. This is not whole. This is just a note. So we hit the note. Then we move. Whole, half, whole, half. And now we're back 12 frets up. We're at the F sharp again. And that's why it sounds like a complete sentence. Now we're back we resolved it. We can do this with anything. We'll start on the C. And here we go. We're going to go whole, half, whole, half. You just have to remember that. WWH, WWWH. WWH, WWWH. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's our major scale. I have to just say this really quickly. This reminds me of WWF, which somebody commented the other day. I think someone here in the comments here, they said that wrestling is really strange to watch right now with no audience. I bet. How boring is that if there's no audience? It's all about the audience, right? I have to tune into that and see what that looks like. All right, so any place you start, let's do another one here. Let's start B flat. But again, it doesn't matter what. This is our tonal center. It's the only thing that matters. So, because if this guitar wasn't in tune, then this note wouldn't be a B flat. It'd be where the B flat normally is. But if the guitar's out of tune, it doesn't matter. But we could still play in key. Okay, so here we go. So I'll go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And we can play it like this too. Okay. So many different ways we can do it. Okay. Many different ways to play a scale on a guitar. But now, why is that important? Okay, I'm going to show you. Let's get in. Let's get a little crazy here, shall we? So if we were to put our scale steps down here, then basically we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, and so 1. If we played it from 1 to 8, we would get the major scale. Hold on, I got to make this a little bit different here for you, to where you guys can cover all this, because I want you to take a picture of the screen, because this is going to teach you all about the modes. Someone was asking about the modes, right? So let's do this here. Okay, so we have whole, get that pen out of here. It's wrong. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay, so now we said if we take our numbers here and we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, we'll put in a circle there. It's really the 1 again. So there's our whole steps, half steps, and this is the major scale, right? Well, if we play it from 1 to 1, we get the major scale. Okay? This is also known as the Ionian Mode. So a mode is it's a subset of the major scale. So number 1, we're going to say this is Ionian. It's just the name. Don't worry about it. Where'd you get your name from? Don't freak out over the name. It's just the name, okay? If you really want to get into the history of all that, you can. It comes from the Greek modes or the Greek moods, because it was said that each one of these created and conjured up a different mood, okay? So, but it's Greek. It's Greek AF. Okay, so if we play that scale from 1 to 1, it's the Ionian mode, or the major scale. If we play it from 2 to 2, it's the Dorian mode, okay? I'll show you this in a minute. If we play it from 3 to 3, it becomes the Phrygian mode, 3 to 3. If we play it from 4 to 4, it's Lydian. If we play it from 5 to 5, it's the Mixolydian. So many of you have played that scale before. It looks just like the major scale, except it has the flat 7. So a lot of people will use it over the 5 chord jazz, and sometimes they'll use it over the 1 chord. It makes more sense if it's used over the 1 chord, because if it's used over the 5 chord, it doesn't really change anything. And so we can't get into all that today. That'll get really confusing for you. A little short this week. Insulin price tripled. Oh my goodness. By the way, your P.O. box got a package to you at home. By the way, will your P.O. box get a package to you at home? Got one to send. No, I'm going to have to go to the post office, and I haven't done it for weeks, Mike. But I'm sure they'll hold on to it for me, hopefully. I don't know. USPS. Lydian, Mixolydian. Okay, 6, from the 6 to the 6 is the Aeolian, and that's also known as the minor scale, okay? It's the minor scale. And last one is Locrian. So you can take a snapshot of this, okay? Take a snapshot of this right now, okay? You got the picture? Okay, good. All right, so really the major and the minor, or the 1 and the 6, are the tonal centers that you're going to have in 99.9% of all the songs that you listen to, even jazz tunes, okay? People mistakenly think that all these jazz tunes are written in modes. They're not written in modes. They're written in major and minor keys, usually major keys. But they'll dabble around with the tonal center. I'm glad, a bunch of people, light bulbs going on. Frameable pick. You're not going to be on the fridge, Eric. Oh no, someone will make a meme out of that, right? Fun. Okay, so these are the tonal centers that you're gonna have 99% of the time. But people like to know about the modes too. So let's we'll dabble into it because I don't love the subject. I don't love the sound. And I'm a major minor guy. I'm basic, man, whatever. But that's 99% of everything you're hearing is that. So don't be fooled. Okay, so if I were to do this. Okay, so if I play G major, let's see, stop. I can't even with that. Just forget it for a minute. If we have this basic G playing, okay? Okay. If I play G major over the top of this, and then if I play every single version of what I just showed you, like all those modes, if I play them going up the fretboard, I'm all in the key of G major. So if I play A Dorian, which is playing the scale from 2 to 2, Don, thank you so much for the donation, friend. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, pal. So if I play G from 1 to 1, that's G major. If I play the A Dorian, which remember we said was number 2, if I play it from 2 to 2, we haven't introduced any new notes. If I play the major scale from 3 to 3, and then 4 to 4, Mixolydian, or that would be Lydian, this would be Mixolydian. If I did that, and I'm doing it going up as per the major scale, the G major scale, then remember, I'm not introducing any new notes. I'm just playing different forms across the fretboard. So think about this. If you're listening, just go on your ears for a minute. It doesn't matter if I'm playing a different form of the same notes. It's just the same notes, so it's not going to sound like a mode. In order for it to sound like a mode, we have to take that form and we have to retrofit it to the specific key that we're in. P. Flamenco, thank you for the donation. Super kind, my friend. So for instance, if I wanted to actually sound like I was playing in the Dorian mode, I would have to play some minor sounding chord, in fact, an A minor 7 or G minor 7 in this case, would work well with the Dorian, right? So like, so now if I play the Dorian, now you can see, now it's starting to sound more Dorian, right? Because we're using that form a little bit differently, okay? Now, I don't want to go into it much further than that because I know we have folks that aren't really interested in jazz. I'm not the best jazz teacher in the world, and because really that's where you're going to use these modes mainly, okay? Now, I have a whole course for this inside of UGS. I want to stop there with the modes because we could really get out of hand there, and then again, we're just losing people. And I always say to folks, they say, tell me about the modes. I really want to know the modes, because they believe that if they know the modes, that it's kind of like the holy grail or something, and if you could really just learn to wrap your mind around the modes, that you're going to be playing all this magical music. It's not true. There's really two basic tonal centers, major and minor. There are music aficionados that will argue that, but they don't have the proof. There's only a smattering of songs that are really built on these modes, and they don't really sound very good. They always want to gravitate back to major and minor, okay? So just know that, and if you like the sound of the modes, you probably like jazz. If you don't, you probably don't like them. It's good to know the forms, but other than that, you get it? Make sense? Thank you, John, for the kind words. Yeah, lost me, he's saying, yeah. So I don't want to lose you guys. Just understand it's out there. But like I said, I've been playing for 37 years or so, and I don't use them at all. I used them just now. I know how to technically use them, but very, very little. I'm not super good at it. But even the guys that I see that are good at it, when they do it and they're super good at it, I'm like, yeah, tonal center you're losing me on the tonal center, okay? Because it's just not a natural sound. Our ears they don't like the sound. That's it, okay? That's all I can say about it. Okay, whole step, half, whole, half. How do you move it down to the floor? 6 to 1 string. I don't know what that means, move it down to the floor. Okay, is UGS Pro coming to an app? Chewing Baka, it is already in an app. I'd show you, but it's on my phone. That's now my camera right now. So if you download the Kajabi app, go to your app store and search K-A-J-A-B-I. K-A-J-A-B-I, that's the platform that we're built upon, and you will find that you can get 100% of all of the PDFs, all of the Q&A, the community, all that stuff inside of your app. It's a super robust app supported by our folks at Kajabi. That's what we pay for, and it is amazing. You're absolutely going to love it. So it's bonkers, okay? Indeed. All right. Bill's saying, thanks for hitting the jazz material. You're welcome. How do you switch from a C to a D chord? So if you're asking, like, how do you do it quickly into, then what you want to do is you want to be able to do the C chord really well and the D chord really well, and then you want to be able to do the transitions exactly how I teach you inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System standard. That is linked to below this video. The first link is the PDF, which you should have downloaded already, Link 2 will give you access to either UGS Pro or UGS Standard, which I'm giving you guys for free today, replete with all the PDFs and everything else. Watch the video transitions, and it'll show you how to transition and how to think about transitioning between the C and the D, or any two chords. Because you're having a problem with C and D right now, tomorrow it'll be two other chords, and then after that it'll be two other chords. So you've got to get that concept down before this will make sense, okay? When do we chord substitute and why? Would a 2-chord be okay in the rest of the group when the rest of the group is playing the 4-chord? When do we chord substitute and why? You don't have to. Chord substitution comes if you're playing a lot of the same chord and you want to create some variation to it, if you will, okay? But as a rule, you can chord substitute something that is similar to another chord. So if you're talking about the difference between relative major and relative minor, or what I call sister chords, okay? You can look this up on YouTube. I call it sister chords. And basically, every single major chord has a minor relationship, or has a chord that's related, minor to it, that's 3 half steps down. Every minor chord, if you go up 3 half steps, you will find a major equivalent. And what I mean by major equivalent is they share 2 of 3 notes, okay? And that's the best we can ask for when we're talking about triads, because we're talking about chords that have 3 notes. If 2 chords share the same 3 notes, and then they're the same chord, right? If we're talking about triads. So the best we could ask for is 2 notes that are similar. And for every minor chord, this is a trick you're gonna find on the guitar. When I came across this 30-something years into playing, I was like, holy cow, no one ever showed me that. And here's the truth. 9/10 of the things that I show you, no one ever showed me. There are things that I came across on the guitar and I'm like, why doesn't anybody teach this? This is brilliant. This is great stuff. So for every, I won't get into it, but essentially for every major chord, we'll do it. We'll do it with this acoustic here. For every major chord, there's a related minor chord. So in the case of C major, if you go down 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, the minor chord is related and it shares 2 of the 3 notes that the C chord had. And this works for every major and every minor chord. So if I play a major chord right here, I go 3 half steps down, 1, 2, 3, and that chord shares the same 3 sets of notes. Any minor chord that I play, if I go up 3 whole steps, there's a major chord equivalent according to the major scale. So for every minor chord, if you go up 3 half steps, you will find a major chord that fits right into that key. For every major chord, if you go down 3 half steps, you will find a minor chord that fits into that key, and it works out perfectly. No one ever showed me this. Again, this is just something I came across, and when I saw it, I was like, that is brilliant, and I can use that. Okay, so it's super good stuff. Can you demo the minor scale, please? So the minor scale is just playing the major scale from 6 to 6. So here's G major scale. If I play it from, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So let's play it from 6. So here's 1. Let's go down 3 half steps. Right? So here's our 6. We're going to play the same scale. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to stop at 6. That's the minor scale. So it is the major scale, but we're just playing it from 6 to 6 instead of from 1 to 1. You could play the minor scale from 1 to 1, and it's still the minor scale because the scale has to do with the notes, not where you start or stop. Okay? Usually when we're playing an A minor scale, we'll start on the A and we'll end on the A, just so your ears is tuned to how the tonality of how that scale should be. But realistically, you could play the A minor scale from C to C if you wanted, and you could play the C major scale from A to A, and it would technically be a C major scale that you're using. You're just playing it from a different note that's in there. Okay, does that make sense? It's like counting from 1 to 7, or we could count from 2, counting from 1 to 1, or we could count 2 to 2. So we could go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Okay, we could do that. So just know that we're still counting, and we're still using the same notes, the same numbers, but we're just starting at a different number and ending on a different number. Like, if that doesn't make sense to you, if I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, because we had 7 numbers, you'd be okay with that, right? So that, we'd call that the 1 scale or whatever. But if we counted 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, it's the same set of numbers. So it doesn't, we didn't really change anything. All the variables are the same. We just set it in a different order. That's all. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, look at this. Daniela, the modes are one of the main reasons I stopped playing with Jazz Jam Group a few years ago. They made my brain hurt, but now I get them. You make them sound so easy. Daniela, great. Me too. I was in jazz band earlier than I should have been. I was still a rocker, and I was playing power chords for everything. And my instructor just looked at me and just shook his head. And I remember feeling so embarrassed and feeling like terrible, as I should have, because it was college. It was time to grow up and learn some daggone jazz. And I disappointed my jazz teacher, and I felt really bad about it. He's kind of a jerk, though, so I don't feel too bad about it. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, right? Now here's Daniela. Here's some way that you could still play jazzy and still play in the modes but not really think about it. So for instance, if you have a chord that's like an A minor 7 chord, right, that has that flatted 7 in there, well, for the A minor 7 chord, you could play a minor, or you could play the Dorian, because neither one of those scale forms or modes, however you want to look at it, insult the chord or step on its notes. So really you can just think about whatever chord's being played and then accentuate the notes that are in that chord along with the other notes in the scale that you're playing, and you're going to be basically doing the same thing. Okay, so if a chord is altered and you're playing those altered notes, that's essentially what jazz modal playing is doing. Is they're tipping their hat, if you will, to what that chord is and the notes that are represented there. Much like if we were talking about something and we wanted to continue our conversation and you changed the conversation, I would change with you if we wanted to keep talking. All right, cool. Marco, thanks for the donation, bro. And he's got the cool Misfits symbol there. Every now and then, like really late at night, I'll watch like the Misfits live shows because I love watching those guys live. They were just they just had like such a sound, and they were so obnoxious on stage, and you just like, my God, that was like a thing, man. Like in the early 80s, late 70s, right? They were amazing. Marco, okay, I'm a beginner, and your lesson today on scales helped me understand the fretboard better. Thanks from Italy. Thank you so much, Marco, and I hope you guys are safe there, man. Crazy times, right? Michael D is saying, what do you do for a song like The Gambler probably, right? That starts in E flat, then steps up to a half step to E. Do you move the capo mid-song? Do you play the whole song in bar chords, or just ignore the key change? Well, you can't ignore the key change if you're playing with the band. So there's a few different things that you could do. You could get one of those rolling capos. You could do what I saw George Jones do when I saw him perform He Stopped Loving Her Today for one of the last times here in Nashville. I saw him perform this. And he just straight up grabbed the capo in the middle of the song, moved it, missed a few chords, and kept playing. But he's George frickin' Jones, so he's going to do what he wants to do. So there's all sorts of things that you can do. You know, if it were in the key of E flat, then, you know, you could play it down here, capo right here, and then when it goes to the key of E, then you slide everything up like that, you know. So there's many different things that you could do. How can I stretch between the second and third fingers? 11, the second and third fingers, 11. Well, one exercise that you could do, and this is covered in UGS standard, right? Exercise number 1 is this exercise that goes like this. This is exercise number 2, actually, where you're just emphasizing those 2 notes. Another way that you could stretch is you could do this exercise. So you start on 2 frets, 2 strings, and doesn't matter which 2 fingers you want to exercise, just use those 2 fingers. Doesn't matter what frets you use, doesn't matter what strings you use. So, but just next to each other preferably. And so this is one exercise you could do for stretching. You know? This requires you to have that thumb on the back of the neck instead of over the top. So it has less to do with actually stretching your hand and more having to do with your thumb dropping behind the neck and you getting used to that. It'd be like a girl getting used to walking around on high heels. I'm sure that's not easy to do, but with practice you start learning, and it's kind of like that. It's uncomfortable to drop your thumb behind the back of the neck and get used to playing like that, but you can do it for sure, 100%, okay? Okay. Where can I learn fingerstyle guitar? I can teach you Magambo. First, start with the free course I'm giving you today, the second link below, and then I have finger picking lessons inside of UGS. I'm not sure they're in the free section or not, but nonetheless, I've got tons of free fingerstyle lessons for you. Just search YourGuitarSage finger picking, and I'll show you how to get the basics down. And then I've got lots of songs that teach you how to do it too. Okay? All right, good. When I pluck the strings, what would the position of my pinky finger? Just leave your pinky finger, just leave it there. It doesn't need to go anywhere. It's stuck to your hand, so you don't worry about where it goes. If it's flying out or doing something that you don't want it to, just play. It's not going to go too far away from your hand, I can promise you that. Just focus on practicing. Don't worry about what your other fingers are doing. It is important to have a warm-up routine before daily practice. No, I don't think it is. I rarely do it. I don't find a need for it. I go straight to what I'm practicing. Now, if you are, real high-end player, then yes, there probably is an answer for that. I mean, there's probably a reason for that. And I have talked to a lot of guys, Johnny Highland and Joe Robinson and guys like that before they step out on stage. But we're talking about the top of the heap in what it is that they do, okay? Because you can only get good at one or a couple particular things, right? You're not going to find Johnny Highland, he's going to be really good either at a lot of things pretty good or at one thing really good, like say Stevie Ray Vaughan or what have you. But whatever you practice is what you're going to get good at. So when you're at that level, you do need to warm up, or so they say, I trust them. Darren, thank you so much, bud. Super kind. Thank you for the donation. First time commenting. Purchased your course months ago. My goal is to play Isley Brothers songs. Do you have videos covering pedals? Isley, Darren, I do. Search YourGuitarSage Effects, E-F-F-E-C-T-S, or YourGuitarSage Pedal Board, or YourGuitarSage Pedals. If you're inside... Oh, you purchased the course. Okay, if you purchased the course, Darren, forget about what's on YouTube. The good stuff, the better stuff's in UGS, right? So if you're in there, search tone, and search for, I have a course called The Ultimate Pursuit of Tone, where I sit down with Greg Ellis, my guitar tech, and we go over everything from the pick to the string, to the pickup, to the wood on your guitar, to the lead that's going to your amplifier, or that's going to your pedals, to the pedals, to the amp, to the speaker, to every single bit in there, so that you understand what does what and why and all the rest. And we go over effects, we go over all that stuff, Darren. So indeed, I've got a whole section for you. And if you want to cut, not have the ads, and you want to get straight to the course instead of just one video, that's why you want to be an Unstoppable Guitar System. Yes, I've got 1,400 videos for you on YouTube that are very, very helpful. Hundreds of hours of solid stuff for you. But at the same time, if you want the course, that stuff is inside of UGS. Darren, thank you for another donation. Appreciate it, buddy. Indeed. And I'm here for you. You don't have to donate, but I appreciate it as always. Thank you, Darren. Super kind, bud. Christopher is saying, I try to solo over backing tracks, but I can't get out of it just so I sing like a scale. Why? So I just sing like a scale. Christopher, it's just practice, but chances are you're playing through the scales instead of phrasing, and that happens when you have too many scales in front of you. So what you need to do is just isolate one little tiny section of the neck and get really good at that one tiny section of the neck. Okay? It's like I say, so for instance, by the way, on YouTube, search minimalistic. Search YourGuitarSage minimalistic, and you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let's see. Let's do this. All right, so what happens when people learn scales, this is what they do. Well, I have a video that's like you're playing your scales wrong, because this is what people do with scales. Sorry, I gotta move this down, have a little less of my hair and a little bit more of the guitar, okay? Sorry, hair. Okay, so this is what people do with scales, is they go, oh, I know all my scales, Eric, here I go. And they're like, but it doesn't sound like anything. Because they're just running through their scales, right? Why would it sound like anything? That's like if you handed a dictionary to a kid, or if you've ever seen, like, I call them Disney kids or like actor kids, and they're like, boy, I'm so glad that you're here at Disney, and they're so animated, and they're like, yeah, they've been taught by their parent to be so animated. Doesn't feel very natural, right? Same thing, if you know your scales and you're just playing through your scales, it feels like that, like it's not sincere. So what you want to do is you want to be sincere, even if you're using a small amount of words. This janitor, back in the day when I was working a different job, this janitor would come in all the time, and he was always high as a kite, and he was always talking about girls, and he was always talking about weed and talking about girls and talking about just like whatever, just like he was crazy. And but every now and then he would look at me and he would say something like he was like some friggin' like, I don't know, like he was like freaking a little Buddha, little trash changing Buddha. I mean, he was doing the trash in our location there, right? Janitor. And but he would say something every now and then that was just like so brilliant, and I'd be like, he'd walk away, and I'd be just like, what was that, like an angel, whatever. Okay, that's the way you want to think about playing, is that you want to say, even if you don't have some vast vocabulary, which this guy didn't have, but he would say something so eloquently sometimes that I'm like, that's amazing. That's the way you want to think, as opposed to, have you ever seen those guys where they know all the flowery words, but they're just not saying anything, right? Don't be that. Be the guy, be the gal who just uses a few words. At least start there. You can always get flowery later on. But if I was thinking about this, I would just take, say, like the pentatonic scale, the G major pentatonic, or the A minor pentatonic, and I would just whittle away with one little section of the neck. Okay, so in this case here, I'm picking one little section of the neck here, and I'm just gonna work it and get to where that sounds good. Okay, so like, now that didn't take a lot of brain power, but and I didn't have to use a bunch of notes. But what happens is everybody thinks they have to use all the notes, and now you can't keep up with all those notes. No guitar player does that. Jimi Hendrix didn't do that. Eddie Van Halen didn't do that. Yngwie Malmsteen didn't do that. He's only, even though those guys were playing fast, right? And even though they have a great understanding of the whole neck, they're only in one place at a time. You can only be in one place at a time, right? Talk about the power of now. You can't be in the future. You can't be in the past. You can think about those things, but you can only be affecting this moment right now. So when you're playing, think about that. Don't think about being at this end of the neck. You're not there. Don't think about being here. You're not there. Be right here. Be with the 2 or 3 notes and honor those 2 or 3 notes and learn those 2 or 3 notes. Get used to phrasing like a child would. My kid's 4 years old. He messes words up all the time. Even when he messes the words up, it's brilliance. It's absolute complete brilliance because the kid is just thinking so fresh. So don't feel like you gotta know all the notes. And in fact, it just doesn't work that way. You're not going to sound intelligent that way. Start very simply. That's the way to do it. Thank you. My knees hurt. Yes. Please, if you haven't already, hit that like button. If you have, then don't do it again. But share it with a friend, okay? That'd be great. All right, we're going to go at probably another 15 minutes here, okay? Have I used Tone Bridge? Do I recommend it? I think Tone Bridge is great if you're not plugged in and what have you. Yeah, it's super easy to use, right? This is on the website, right, on Ultimate Guitar, if you're a member there and all the rest, which I am. Yeah, use that Tone Bridge. I think it's helpful. Yeah, for sure. Do modes like Dorian and Phrygian have more of a minor feel? Yeah, they do, because they have that minor third in there, right? Yes. Ah, good. Chris is saying getting to the good nuggets now. Yeah, good. I know that you guys like when I talk about that stuff, so we can do that some more. Let's do it some more, because I know you guys dig that. So if that's one section of the neck, I might noodle around there a little bit. And because we're limited, right? There's a reason. Oh, dude, who just did 25 bucks? That's super kind. Orion. Love that approach and wisdom. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's amazing. Super kind. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. Let's continue down that road, because it seems like you guys are digging this, right? Okay, so now the reason that people want to know all these different forms is because if you know all those different forms, you have all these different ways that you could say something. Just like I mentioned, I learned the word gregarious like in 5th grade, right? Gregarious, right? It means like, outgoing, right? Socially outgoing, jovial type of thing. We could also use the word jovial, right? We could also use the word, not enchanting, but charming, you know. But each one of those words means a little something different. So just like this feels different, sounds slightly different. Both of those sound slightly different. This one sounds a little brighter because I'm on lighter strings, but they're the same set of notes. But they also fall differently under my fingers. So once I exhaust a little area, then I'm like, okay, I've said enough there. I'm gonna either challenge myself and go to a different area, or I just want to get some different notes. So after I exhaust this area, now I might change, because I'm up here already. can see I was repeating that same lick in different places in the neck, sometimes different octaves, sometimes just different places. But nonetheless, then you start getting the idea that, oh, okay, well, they're playing on all these different places in the neck, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much 7 notes. They're playing pentatonically, it's only 5 notes, but it has this appearance that guitar players are playing like a million notes, but they're not. It's like 5 notes, 7 notes, over and over and over again in different variations. We're not too different. How many times a day do I say the word the, or guitar, or you can do it? How many different ways can I say that? I do that a lot. Make sense? Okay. Sounded like call and response. That's great. I love that you said that, Gary, because here's something else, is that you want to get in this idea of call and response. You want this to sound conversational. So when you play a phrase, act like you're talking with somebody or you're talking by yourself. See, like we say, hey, anybody here from Boston? You know, so you say something and then you say, I got a story for you. You know, and you have phrases, you set the scene up and that sort of thing. So you want to do something similar when you're playing, is you want this idea of call and response, where we don't play like this. We don't want to do this. We don't want to just like randomly just go on and on and on. We want to say something and then pause dramatically and then say something again. Maybe even repeat something. So see if you can't pick this up in what I'm doing here. It's like I'll say something and then I may repeat it. I may say it a different way, but I'm talking in phrases. I'm saying something like this. One phrase. That's a phrase. 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 Then I might repeat something. Repeating stuff, and a lot of times when you do that, you can do variations on it. But I guess what I'm trying to do is give you this idea that you're free to not have to come out with brilliant ideas all the time. You just need to speak, just talk. Okay. Sometimes the best conversations are ones that are just earnest. They're just honest. They just speak the truth. In fact, those are the ones I love the best. When you can just be. People just want honesty, and they want honesty in playing too. So the more you can just think that way and just like play a melody. Don't worry about your technique. Don't, you know, do you do that when you're kissing or you're making love or you're talking or you're cooking? No, dude, you're in the moment. So just be in the moment. Obviously, the more you do it on all those things, the better you're going to get at it. So there's that. But in the meanwhile, you're only as good as how much you've practiced. So if you're new to cooking, if you're new to kissing, if you're new to making love, if you're new to playing guitar, you're only going to be as good as how many times you've done it. So do it a lot more, right? Okay. Hi, bud. You coming in? Come on in. Come on in. All right, Tux is going to jump the fence. He's going to join us, I think. Come on in, bud. All right. How does the Locrian relate to the major minor feel? Jared, see earlier in the program where I really drilled down with this. Locrian is not a very friendly mode. It is the 7th scale degree of the, it's the 7th scale degree of the 7th mode, and it's not used very often. Okay, Eric, for fingerstyle improvisation, do you think of your playing as chords or scales or both? That's a great question, Gregory. Usually when I'm playing fingerstyle, I'm thinking more about the chord, but I'm thinking about the scale too. I guess if I'm thinking polyphonically, you know what I mean? Like if I'm doing like a you know, so I'm finger style there, but I'm thinking, you know, double stops and 3 notes at a time and what have you. But yeah, I definitely think about the scale for sure. Yeah. Come on over, bud. Jump. Here he comes. Come over here, Tux. Come here. Can you throw some light on chord progressions of a new song by ear? How should we progress to the next chord while jamming a new song? I don't know what that means. Oh, can you throw some light on chord progressions of a new song by ear? Avinash. First, you need to be able to identify single notes by ear. If you can't do that, then obviously adding more notes is not going to help. So you got to understand the basic bits about playing by ear first. I've got videos for this on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage ear. Come on up here, bud. Come on. Get up here. Everybody wants to see you anyhow. This is Tux. Say hi, buddy. So you want to be able to do that first. So on YouTube, search YourGuitarSage ear. If you're inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System, you know I have a whole course on this where I walk you through it, starting the very simple stuff and then identifying chords and all that, okay? That's what you want to do. But then also, as I say, understanding how to hear stuff by ear has 90% to do with your understanding of music theory and less to do with your actual ear. Yes, you got to hear stuff, right? But this cat, if I play this chord, he's hearing an A minor chord. He just doesn't know what an A minor chord is because I've never taught it to him, right? I just feed him and I pet him because he's a good boy. Are you a good boy? You're a good boy. Yeah. So he's hearing the same chord, but he hasn't been taught what an A minor chord is or what a minor chord is. He doesn't know that this chord sounds a little sadder than that one, which sounds happier, right? So an infant, a 3-year-old, right, is gonna hear things, or a 3-day-old is gonna hear the same chords, same melodies, same scales, everything as the conductor who's been conducting for 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and he's 90 years old, 97 years old, right? He's hearing all the exact same stuff, but the conductor went to school, was able, learned to identify all this stuff. He's not special. He learned, okay? Mozart learned. Yes, he learned earlier, but he learned, I promise you. Otherwise, keep believing the myth that you have to be talented, and then you'll never get anywhere as far as your music, or you'll just get to wherever your belief system will allow you to go. As Henry Ford said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're correct. Make sense? Okay? Good. Major scales come in different patterns. Is there an order in which we should learn them? Marco is saying. Marco, yes, this is how I teach it inside of UGS, but there are basically about 5 different forms of the major scale, okay? There's about 5 different forms, and learn those. If you're in UGS already, you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you're gonna have to search a little bit on YouTube, but that's how to navigate the whole neck, you know what I mean? So the way I learn it is like this. Form 1, 2, 3. In 3, there's 4. Here's 5, 6, 7. So, and out of that 7, there was one that had 2 of them there, and this one has 2 as well, Locrian. And so really there's 5 forms. If you learn there's 5 forms, 2 are hidden in 2 of those. So that's how we only have 5 forms, but 7 different scales, okay? So for instance, what I mean by that is you got this form. Didn't move my hand, I just started on a different finger here. Okay, so that's we got 2 forms hidden in there. Does that make sense? So learn them that way. Okay. Ooh, you're purring loud, buddy, ain't you? Ooh, ain't you a good guy? Oh. Why does it feel like for a guitar teacher to always teach the same beginner stuff over and over again? Amber, I know, because it's absolutely so important. This stuff is so important, okay? Not only that, Amber, I bet you if you've been watching for 2 hours, I bet you I've lost you at least 10 times. So not only are we doing beginner stuff, but we're also doing advanced stuff too. But I guarantee you, if you watch this broadcast back over, I will have lost you many times. Because that is the essence of music. It's like 1 second you got it and another second you don't. And that's the problem when people learn stuff online. There's nothing wrong with learning stuff online. You could have a one-on-one teacher that skips around too. That's not good either. But you know, if you don't have a step-by-step approach, that's the way that I do all my books. It's the way I do all my courses. It's the only way to learn is through association and steps, step by step by step. It's the only way to do it. Otherwise, you get lost, and then you wonder where the heck you got lost, and then you start doubting yourself. Well, maybe I suck. Maybe I'm the one who's dumb. Maybe I don't get it. And it's not you. It's probably your teacher. Or maybe it's you that you're not following the right guy or the right gal, or you're skipping videos or lessons. Don't do that, okay? Okay, makes sense? All right, beautiful. Okay, my friends, very quickly, if you have not already, a few things I want you to do. If you haven't subscribed already and you'd like to subscribe, then please do that. Hit the subscribe button right now and also like this. Okay, there's a chance that we could get over 600 before we leave in a minute here. That'd be 80 of you. I'd have to have 80 of you like this. If you've done it already, don't do it because you'll negate the other one. But there's 565 of us in here right now. If 80 of you liked it, then boom, we'd get up to 600. So like this video, also share it with a friend if you would, okay? And don't forget, 2 orders of business that I want you to do. First link below, we'll give you the PDF to every single day as we walk through this. And I'm literally, the first hour every single day here, I'm doing the beginner section. I'm walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System. So Amber, you don't want to watch that first hour. It's going to be all that beginner stuff that you don't need. So don't do that, okay? If you have all that down, Amber, which I don't suspect you do, because no one does, I could have it down better, then don't watch the first hour. Okay, and then the second hour is going to be the advanced stuff, the intermediate to advanced stuff. But we always have to go back to foundational stuff. I mean, look, if you're a mathematician and you're trying to discover some sort of crazy, the physics of the universe or something, you can't be just like, all right, only advanced stuff. Now, no adding. You can't add because that's all the beginner stuff. No adding, no subtracting. We're talking about physics here. It's like that's the foundation of all that stuff. You got to have that. You can't throw that away, right? You can't throw away gravity or basic physics of airflow if you're flying a plane. You can't be just like, man, I've been flying for years. Forget about gravity. That was lesson 1. No longer am I going to abide by that law. You'd be an idiot, wouldn't you? So don't do that, okay? Tomorrow we're going to talk about how to read tablature. Is going to be the easy part, the easy one. Amber, don't watch, do watch. Okay, and practicing with a metronome is going to be part 2. Now, I'm going to have a metronome here, so maybe I'll have to download one because it's on my phone, and I can't do that because anyhow, I'll figure that out, okay? So we'll talk about playing with a metronome tomorrow. We have many different ways that we can do this, okay? All right, for those folks that donated today, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donations. For those of you that liked this, that hung around, that asked the beautiful questions, thank you so much. I do this as much for me as I do this for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Love you guys. I will meet you guys tomorrow here again on Sunday. Yes, my wife's real thrilled about it. We're actually going to go do an Easter hunt with the little guy right now because it's supposed to rain here tomorrow. So that's what we're doing right now. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Super kind of you. Appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. See you.